You don't have a lead generation problem, and I'm going to prove to you that right now. You see, every marketing guru, consultant, uh, AI, and AI friend and bot are teaching the same thing: tactics, tactics, and more tactics. Post another reel, make another static post, change your font, get a better hook. No, your image is wrong, it's too big, it's too small, it's inactive, etc., etc., etc. Why do they teach tactics? Well, anybody teaching tactics generally, it's the easy way out, isn't it? Because you can just say to somebody, oh, your problem is a lead generation problem. Go and post more, or go and fix your reel, just go away. That's the lazy way out as far as I'm concerned. What you really want to be doing is to build the underlying structure, so understand the structure behind it all, and then you can play around with all these different tactics. But if the structure is wrong in the first place, how are you going to grow your business and scale your business successfully? It's almost like saying, go paint your roof blue, but you haven't yet built the framing on which your roof sits, for example. So go away, paint it blue, paint it green, whatever. But, sorry, you don't even have your foundations in place yet. So that's not going to work, is it? So let's see what's happening at the moment. I had somebody recently come to me, worked elsewhere, and was still struggling. And she said she had a lead generation problem. So what we do is we normally do audit the business, had a look at what was happening in her life, and I discovered something fascinating. So what I'm going to do is just share my iPad here with you. There we go. Audit the business, found nothing to do with leads or lead generation. So she had, this is a funnel, okay, and her funnel looked something like this. Didn't draw the funnel big enough because it was looked a lot worse than that. So this is where people were coming in, right? And then this was the filtering process. Let's just show you this. Here was a filter, and then another layer, quite often a different person to speak to, or another hoop to jump through, another obstacle, and then another, a third, and a fourth, etc., etc., etc. The problem, what she was doing, is she was creating friction points. And we all know that the more friction points are between where somebody's interested in what you have and popping out down the bottom here, the fewer the friction points, the better. Makes sense, doesn't it? Just think of your own buying behavior. You know, when you walk into a showroom and the salesperson comes straight up and you say, can I help you? What does everybody say? 99% of people. No. You've almost lost the sale before you've even started. Okay, much like this, where you've got all these different friction points, that gives an opportunity for people to bail. Why? Because remember, your primary human instinct is survival. You know, part of your brain is scanning the whole time for threats. And each time there's a friction point, it's perceived as a threat because people are not in control. And as soon as they're not in control, they perceive there's some sort of risk involved. And your brain says, hang on. Don't do this. You know, refer back or defer back to the status quo. Far more comfortable. I can just see problems, almost like in the old days when you were out hunting and you knew there were lions and leopards and all sorts of nasty creatures that wanted to eat you. You need that part of your brain to activate very, very quickly. And it responds in milliseconds, by the way. So the first reaction is no. So what she was creating were no's long before anybody had an opportunity to purchase her program or invest in her or in her business. So I'll just show you what we do slightly differently in our program, the success method. So this is our funnel, or one of the funnels, and it would look something like this. Okay. 1 step, maybe 2 steps max. In fact, we've got a 1 step and a 2 step, but let's just make this a 3 step. Okay. Let's assume I got this exactly the same amount of leads, yes, exactly the same people, right? And all they had was 3 friction points, or 2 friction points, or 1 friction point. Doesn't it make more sense that we can have a lot more people falling through the bottom here? Assuming all things being equal here. Don't you think this type of setup here, where you've built the system correctly, where you've built the architecture correctly, is far more efficient than the one on the left? So both of these, same amount of leads. One of them, and these were figures, by the way, so she was getting in approximately 100 people, right? And then having one person buy, so 1% conversion. And then she's getting told to go away and get more leads. So if she went away and she got 200 leads through the same process, she just have 2 buyers now. So she's doubled the leads, all the cost involved with that and all the effort involved with that. And she hasn't really improved down here, has she? Whereas here on this side, you got 100 falling in, and depending how good you are and what your selling skills are like and your conversions are like, and etc., etc., etc. If you've done your pre-qualifying good and in advance, and your marketing is doing your work for you, when they come here with far less friction points, you probably have 20, 30, 40, in some cases up to 60 people, depending on the skills, converting. So, like I said, you don't have a lead generation problem. You have a tactics versus systems problem, a tactics versus architecture problem. Tactics are just a distraction. There's a time and place for tactics and to chase a shiny object, but unless the underlying infrastructure, those are bricks, you can see what a good artist I am, unless your bricks are in place, it doesn't matter how many leads you get here, you're always going to end up with the same problem. Frustration, spinning your wheels, doing the same thing over and over again, and wondering why nothing is working for you. So what actually moves the needle here, let me just stop sharing my screen, is basically reducing the friction between you and the people that are looking for you in essence. Okay? So before creating another post, before you try another strategy somebody's trying to sell you, ask yourself, is your business set up to receive people? Okay? So don't worry about getting more leads. Use the ones that you got at the moment, but focus rather on setting up the infrastructure or the structure that is good to receive people with as little friction as possible. Hope that helps.